Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Grayscale trusts and also a few dividend announcements. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so as you guys can see, today the market is having kind of a brutal sell-off. Not exactly sure why that is. I mean, I could pretty much chalk it up to right around this time in October. Usually there is some kind of a pullback, especially before elections. I expect that to reverse pretty quickly over the next week or two, and we should be going up into December and even past December is my expectation here. Okay, so going over the actual dividend announcements here, we have ymax at 22 cents for the week. Pretty big payout, 67%. Ymag, for some reason, was very small. I don't know why. It's only 5 cents, but hey, something is better than nothing. MSTR, $4.20, or MSTY, I should say. So this one's crazy, 175%. And then you have Y triple Q. I'm guessing this is an inverse the NASDAQ. I'm not sure. This must be a new one. 35 cents. Yeah, again, 25%. That's pretty good. AMZ, 76 cents. Aptly, 34 cents. Let's keep going down the list here. AIYY, 72 cents. DSO, 51 cents. Squeeze, a massive dollar or two. And then SMCY, this was actually quite shocking. So SMCY is based on SMCI, which, as you guys know, is super micro. Super micro is actually more volatile than the NVIDIA stock. So this one pays like really, really stupid premiums. I mean, it's ridiculous how much it pays. It's like half the price, less than half the price of NVIDIA. And it pays almost about as much in premiums every single week as NVIDIA does, if not more, in the options market. So the old max version of this one's paying a massive eye-watering $5.35. I think SMCY could be good for the actual distributions, but personally, I mean, super micro is so cheap at this point, I probably would just buy the shares personally and do options myself is what I would do. But regardless, there it is. All right, so next one we're going to go over here is the Roundhill ETFs. Okay, so this one is, let's see which one is this. xdte, so 18.54% as of recent, 24 cents per share. Again, we have been slowly adding some shares to these. I mean, the dip is there, so we might as well just buy the dip, right? Because again, November historically is almost always a bullish month. So qdte, this one's a little bit less, which not really shocking. I mean, qdte, I can take a look with you guys in a minute here at the NASDAQ setup, but it's actually on the macro, it's an ascending triangle and it's kind of coiling, which means that there's not a lot of volatility until we eventually get the break to the upside. But almost about 21 cents per share. Again, that's pretty good. And if I go over here to rdte, I'm pretty sure this is going to be more because the Russell has been more volatile than the NASDAQ as of lately. Yeah, this is more than both the S&P and the NASDAQ. So 33.5 cents for those of you guys that hold rdte. Okay, so quick look at the portfolio. So obviously we're getting absolutely decimated today, but again, not a big deal. Go back a month. I mean, again, when in doubt, zoom out, paint the bigger picture, right? You can see we're up massively over the course of a month. So are we worried about this little tiny dip before the bullish November? Not really. It seems big during the daytime when it actually happens, but looking back in history, if you go into November, December most years, usually hindsight's always 2020, right? You look back and you're like, oh, it seemed bad back then, but actually it wasn't really that bad. So we added a couple shares of xdte. Recently added a couple shares of GPIC, and I think that's it. And then, of course, we have the puts on MSTU and Soxel. All right, so enough of that. I want to go ahead and get into the rest of this real quick. So I want to show you guys. Actually, I'm not going to show you guys the actual NASDAQ because it's almost relative, to be honest. I mean, the futures version is essentially pretty much the splitting image of the actual indices itself. But okay, just waiting for this thing to stop being choppy. There we go. So if I show you guys this, it's a little difficult to actually see the pattern unless you're really trying to look for these things. So pretty much what we have right here, and again, we did get a break of this downtrend line, which we were originally looking at, but we also have another pattern here, which is known as an ascending triangle. This is a bullish pattern, okay? So you're we get this flat top where price is smacking its head against there, and then we get these higher lows, successively smaller dips along the way, and then eventually a breakout to the upside. So just to show you guys what that target would actually look like, you would measure it from the top of the triangle to whatever the absolute swing low is, and then from whatever the breakout point is, we'll just say maybe the breakout starts somewhere in the beginning of November. You can see the price target all the way up here at 24,700. Could it happen? Absolutely. Again, I do want to point out that the MACD just started to turn bullish and the RSI is no longer overbought. I am aware that there is some bearish divergence going on here, but it doesn't, just because there is bearish divergence doesn't mean it actually has to play out. Okay, so LTCN, again, bird's eye view here. You guys can see that there are pullbacks on these, especially on GBAT and PhilG. It's just another dip buying opportunity, in my opinion, before the actual bull run begins. And again, Bitcoin doesn't usually go to all-time highs until about November anyways, so I've told you guys this. There is a possibility Bitcoin may not go to all-time highs until November. It might slowly do its markup phase into that point, but then not actually pop off until after the elections, okay? So support here, 12, I'd say about 11.50 to about $15, and then you got this 25 to 27 in here, 54 at the swing highs. So about 110%, 335% move. Again, LTCN's all-time highs at 510. We'll go over in a later video what the potential absolute tops could be. Again, there's no guarantee that LTCN could go to $2,200. It could go to $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, or it could just go to simply $700 or $800. We don't know. Okay, this is basically all just speculation, and we're trying to get a pretty good estimate of what to expect here. So support, I would say probably somewhere around that $6 range to maybe about $7.80 for BCHG, and then you got roughly about $10.50 to $12.70 there. About $18 to $20 and 24 at the swing high up there. All right, so giving you guys the maximum measure move here, it could be as high as 270%. HZEN, this one's mostly flat. There is a pullback into support. Again, if you guys missed out here, you can get it here. This thing's relatively cheap. I mean, it's $4 a share. So if HZEN goes to $40, you make a 10x on your money. You put $100 in, you make $1,000. Again, that's not financial advice, but it could happen. So 350 to 420. Then you got 690 to about 810, and then 10.5 at that swing high up there. So maximum possible move here from the bottom of support to the swing high, 200% gain. ETCG, again, this is a descending triangle. That's a bearish pattern, but I suspect it's not going to play out that way. So support as of right now, $7.60 to about $10. And then kind of the target ranges is anywhere from $13.40 to about $20. So roughly about the maximum move here, 150% gain. ETH support's going to be down here at 1830, and then you have 2330 to about 2860, somewhere there, and then the cup and handle target up at 4750. So 53% and roughly about 155%, and of course you can see the big giant cup and handle there. Also, one other thing to keep in mind, do keep in mind, y'all, that earnings for Tesla, I'll look at this with y'all in a minute, but I'm pretty sure earnings for Tesla is coming out after market close today. So that could potentially also be a market mover. Okay, so support on GBAT, 440 to 5.25. Then you got 770 all the way up to 990. And then about 32 at the all-time highs, 32, 33, somewhere there. So roughly about 100% to 570%. And again, usually when these things go into price discovery, they do not stop at the all-time highs. They usually go way past it, so keep that in mind. FILG, nice little dip back down here into support. If you missed it before, here's your chance. So about 35 to 43.50. And for those of you guys that are saying, oh, well, Phil G is dead. Well, I mean, it wasn't dead back here in 2023, 2024. It went up to $400 from about this same level that we're currently sitting at right now. So it could happen again. 1,070% move. Okay, GLIV support down here at 1260 to about 15. Then you got that all-time high up there at 80. This is pretty much just a straight shot. I mean, it's just, there's nothing in between here. So about 530% gain. G-Link, so support still down here at roughly about 40 to 45. Then you got 65 to about 85. Resistance, 220 at the all-time highs. So maximum measured move here is going to be roughly about 410%, somewhere in there. GSOL, support still down here between 300 to 350. The all-time highs at 580. You would have had some chances to get down here, to get prices down here in this green box if you had been patient. Of course, not everybody is that patient, so I understand. 100% gain here. GXLM, again, kind of my buy area is going to be between roughly about 15 to about 24.5, 24, somewhere in there, those white lines. And then you have about 51 to 58, and then you have 69, 70 up there at that swing high. So about 280% and 350%. And then MANA, this white line is support, so 970, and then you have about 18 to 20. And the all-time high is at 70, which I think it could easily overshoot. I don't think it would be shocking if something like MANA were to hit the Grayscale Trust were to hit like $300 or $400 a share. So 90%, 560% gain. Zcash, so still going sideways. So this thing is support here between 330 to about $6, and then you have about $8 to $9.50, and then 10.25 at the swing high. So roughly about 200 to 215% gain. All right, so let's take a look at Tesla real quick, and then this is going to be it. So Tesla. So we're getting the MACD death cross here. I'm not really liking that too much. I suppose the saving grace here is that we are at the support. The support is a very heavily traded zone. It was flipped back here from resistance into support from July till now, so that could be a saving grace there. We'll see. I have to see how the earnings go, but here's the earnings. It does say that it's expected to happen after hours. That's what that little moon sign means. That means that it's after market close. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.